Now then, how are you doing? Imagine it's 1949 and you've got a decent little collection of 78 RPM records, and then RCA Victor in America comes out with the new 7-inch 45 RPM format. Would you be tempted to buy this new record? Well, you're going to need some new equipment to play it on, and possibly that's one reason why it took quite a few years for the 7-inch record to catch on in my country, the UK, and also here in Japan. Now, the earliest Japanese 45 I've been able to locate dates back to 1953, and it was an EP. And in fact, most of those early 7-inch records that I've been able to find have been EPs. And I think the reason for that is because the record companies needed to offer something a little bit more than just the extra durability of a 45 RPM record in order to get people to invest in new equipment to play them on. So with an EP, of course, you get 4 tracks, sometimes even 6, whereas the old 78 RPMs could only handle about 3 or 4 minutes of music per side, so you only got 1 song per side on those. Now, the earliest Japanese EPs were packaged very similarly to American ones. They came in the thick cardboard covers, and they had one of those big holes in the center of the disc. So onto Elvis's EPs. Of course, they came out a few years later. Now, according to this book, this is Elvis Japanese discography. It basically has color pictures of all the records that were released in Japan. I'll do a separate video on this because it's really quite a remarkable book. Now, according to this book, the first record, which was Elvis record, which was released in Japan, was this one here. It's an EP called Western Caravan Volume 4, and it contains 2 tracks by Elvis, I Forgot to Remember to Forget and Mystery Train, but it also contains 2 tracks by Hank Snow. Now, in the 1950s, there were, believe it or not, there were 21 Elvis EPs released in Japan alone, and several of them, like this one, contained tracks by other people. So again, according to this book, the EP was released in December 1955. You may be familiar with a website, Elvis Japan, and they actually give the release date as June 1956. However, there are 2 different variants. There are 2 variants of the record, the disc itself. One has the large center hole, and one has a small center hole, like a UK record. And Victor, Victor, the record label, actually switched from the large hole to the small hole around the summer of 1956. So I think the release date on the Elvis Japan website refers to the 2nd issue, not the 1st issue. It may seem like a minor point, but we are talking about the first ever Elvis record released in Japan. Now, the earliest Japanese Elvis EP I have that I can show you is from late 1956, around about late 1956, and it's this one here. This one is another Western Caravan EP, Western Caravan Volume 6. Elvis was not, Elvis's music was not on the other volumes 1, 2, 3, and 5. And on the back side it has lyrics in English. There's just one Elvis song on here, and that's Baby Let's Play House. And if you look carefully on the front cover, you can see they've actually made a mistake with the title and called it Baby Let's Play House with You. So the record, of course, is on the Victor label, and as you can see, it has this small center hole with the 3-prong, the tri-center. So this means that it came out after summer 1956. So the cover, you may be able to see around the edge here, like a little plastic ridge, and also on the left side of the cover. So the whole cover is actually covered in plastic, and it's part of the cover. You can't remove the plastic without destroying the cover. Basically, the front part and the back part are 2 separate pieces of paper. And all of Elvis's 1950s EPs released in Japan were exactly like that, with this polylined cover. So another one that I have to show you, this is from 1958. This is called Elvis's Christmas Songs. And this actually has 6 tracks from the Christmas album. Once again, it's on the Victor label, and it has the tri-center. And just like the Western Caravan EP, this one also has the polythene cover right round, and it goes right inside the cover as well, right to the back. And I have just one more from the 1950s, and unfortunately this one doesn't have the tri-center. I live in hope. Sorry, it doesn't have the cover. I live in hope that I can find it one day. This is an EP called "I Need You So," and it has "Don't Leave Me Now," "True Love," "I Need You So," and "Playing for Keeps." So I don't think it's the same. I think it's different from any American EP. On one side of the EP, it actually has a stamp on the label in red characters on the right side. I'm not sure if you can see, it's quite faint, but that stamp denotes that this was given as a gift to someone. So it's not a promo as such, but it was actually given by someone, presumably at Victor Records, to someone else as a gift. Alright, so let's have a look at some of the other EPs that were available in the 1950s. So remember, all of these came with those plastic polylined covers. So on the left page, on the top left corner, you can see Western Caravan Volume 4, which had I Forgot to Remember to Forget and Mystery Train. And then these are all in order of release date. And at the bottom right you can see an EP called Top Hits. Some of these EPs I have circled, and what that denotes is an EP which contains music by other people as well as Elvis. Okay, so Top Hits has one song by Elvis, which was All Shook Up, and it has 3 other songs by other artists. The one on the top right is called Elvis Presley Style Volume 2, and that has a song by Janis Martin called Will You, William. If we look on the right side, again there are 9 more EPs here, and the top left you can see Top Hits Volume 12, and this one just has 2 Elvis songs, Teddy Bear and That's When Your Heartaches Begin. Below that there's an EP called Don't, that just has that one Elvis song on it. All the other ones contain just Elvis's music. There was also another Top Hits, I think Top Hits Volume 11, which contained an Elvis song, which is not shown in this book. This book actually has nearly everything. There's just 1 or 2 releases which it doesn't have, and there's 1 or 2 spaces it has for records which they couldn't find. And the last 2 EPs of the 50s are here on the next page. One is Elvis Sales, and then the other one is called I Need Your Love Tonight. Now, in the 1960s, everything about the EPs changed. The speed changed from 45 RPM to 33 RPM. The tri-center disappeared, and it was a solid label. The black Victor label became blue label, and the covers also changed. The polythene sleeves were gone, and they were replaced by inserts and company sleeves. So the first one that came out was this one here, which is the By Request EP. In Japan it was called Flaming Star. So inside the plastic cover here you can see there's a sheet which has the lyrics on the back, and it also has a company sleeve, Victor Compact 33, and the blue label. So this was the first one that came out in 1961. Another one of the early ones in the early 1960s was one I showed in my Jailhouse Rock video. Again, insert, company sleeve, and the blue Victor EP label. Follow That Dream, same idea, insert, company sleeve, blue label. And this one may be difficult for you to guess. This is actually it's called Elvis's Back, or the Such a Night EP, and it contains 4 tracks from the Elvis's Back album, which are Like a Baby, Make Me Know It, It Feels So Right, and Such a Night. So again, the insert, this comes from the Follow That Dream movie, of course, and the cover and the label, and you can see it says Elvis is Back. And I've got one more from this series. This is Kid Galahad, again with the blue label and company sleeve. So far all the EPs I've shown you from the 60s have had just the 7" by 7" insert. This one is actually a fold out, and it has the lyrics on the inside and Japanese liner notes on the back. You can see this one here has a small hole in the bottom right. This is a punch hole, or equivalent to the cutouts in America. So all those EPs that I've shown there from Flaming Star onwards had the prefix CP to the catalogue number. So the CP denotes a mono release. Now from 1963 the packaging changed again, and they did away with the company sleeve and the single sheet, and they started to release the EPs in laminated flip back picture sleeves. So here's an example for you. This is called Christmas with Elvis, and unlike the EP I showed you before, this one has 4 tracks from the Christmas album, and the lyrics appear on the back cover. Alright, so this you can see is like a standard picture sleeve. And they also came with a Victor inner sleeve, and the mono ones, like this one with the CP catalogue number, they tended to come with the paper inner sleeves. And the stereo ones came with plastic and paper. So there's the label. And I've got one more mono one to show you. This one has the same tracks as an American EP, but completely different tracks. This is the Any Way You Want Me EP. So it has Any Way You Want Me plus 3 song tracks. Left Your Right She's Gone, I Don't Care If the Sun Don't Shine, and Mystery Train. So again, it comes with the paper inner sleeve and the blue label. So the EPs were also released in stereo, and I've got a few here to show you. So the stereo EPs had the SCP prefix, not CP but SCP, to denote stereo. And the earliest one I've got is here. This one here. This is the title of this EP is Trouble, and from the picture you won't be able to guess from which you won't be able to guess what it's called in English, but from the title Trouble you may be able to guess that this is King Creole Volume 2. So there are the tracks. It has Trouble, Young Dreams, Crawfish, and Dixieland Rock. So as I said before, the stereo EPs came with the paper and plastic inner sleeves. The label is the same, but the sound is in stereo. What's the next one I have? Okay, the next one I have is this one here. You might be able to guess what this is from the picture. Very different to the American picture sleeve. This is, of course, the Tickle Me EP with 5 songs. Now, this EP is actually in true stereo. I'm not sure about the American version of the EP, but the UK versions of Tickle Me, there are 2 UK Tickle Me EPs, but they were in mono. This one's actually in true stereo. And then I've got another Christmas EP. This one is called Elvis's Christmas Album. Again with the laminated flip back picture sleeve. On the back there it actually has Japanese liner notes, not lyrics. There are 6 tracks here on this EP, and the lyrics are actually on a separate fold out lyric sheet, 4-page insert. And again it has the Victor poly-lined inner sleeve and the Victor blue label. For some reason somebody decided to stick white stickers on the top of the label. I think this is probably so that they could stack them on one of those old record players, so the record didn't rotate. And another one I have from the 60s I showed in an earlier video. This is the Jailhouse Rock EP. Again, this one also has the insert. Now, in many countries, the EPs basically ended with Easy Come, Easy Go, and Easy Come, Easy Go was released in Japan also. But there were more EPs after Easy Come, Easy Go, and in the same year, 1967, there was a series of 6 EPs which came out, known as the Elvis Presley Story. And here's an example. This is Elvis Presley Story number 3. And all of them actually had the same picture on the back cover, but the colour changed. This one is a sort of a reddy orangey colour. And the cover is actually a gatefold sleeve with the lyrics on the inside. Again, it has the proper Victor inner sleeve, and it's on the same old blue label. This one contains Hound Dog, Jailhouse Rock, Long Tall Sally, and I Need Your Love Tonight. So there were 6 EPs in this series. Elvis Presley Story, volumes 1 to 6, and a couple of them are really well, they're all rare. A couple of them are very, very rare. One has tracks from the Paradise Hawaiian Style movie, and another one has tracks from the Spin Out movie. Those are very, very difficult to find them. And in the 1970s, there were more EPs. There were another 4 EPs that were packaged quite similar to that one in gatefold cover, but they also came with the Obi. 2 of them were Greatest Hits EPs, and 2 of them were live EPs containing tracks from On Stage, That's the Way It Is, and the Madison Square Garden album. And even that wasn't the end of the story, because they actually produced 2 promotional only EPs in the early 21st century, and I've got one of those, and I'm going to show you that to you in another video. But I'm going to leave it there for today. Thanks a lot for watching, and take care.